Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to talk about Apple on the daily, weekly, monthly time frames. And we're going to look at technical analysis to try to figure out where this one could possibly bounce. Because man, I want to be in this one long when we get a bounce, because they're gonna just tear shorts heads off. But again, I don't think we're bouncing to the all-time highs, so don't get all crazy on me. But let's look at this thing on a technical basis here. So we'll put some highs here. I like the all-time high there. We'll do a little bit more. So we have the slanted trend line here. So we're just looking at resistance. We'll do some, the gaps, gap there, gap in here. We had this one here. We even had the gap here, though, if you really want to look at it. I even filled the gap there and still went down. Man, that's just brutal. We had the gap here. We did not fill today. We did not fill the gap today. We had the window. We have another gap fill here. Gap fill down here, too. We've been talking about that 105 level, haven't I, for a little while? Right in there, 105, 106. That's what I've been telling everybody. I don't know if it's going to happen, but hey, so far so good. So you got that, and you got the little gap fill in here. So right around 96.25, 97, 98. But check this out. You go back, you have a high pivot here, comes back in, retraces, putzes around for, a month or so, and then goes. This area is big, 99.80. If we could get down to 96 or so, take that area long. Right in here. This is where we're going to be looking to go long. But again, we're waiting for pattern on here. All right, so this is that. If it gets, right now, technically, we're in a weak position. We're under all the MAs. We closed below the 200 MA, and we closed below this pivot right at 119.15. We did not fill the gap. Not that that matters, because we got here, but this was the bounce in the earnings. They got everybody in here, and now they're just slapping them in the face. Been in these trades. Hate that. Not for years, but when I was a trader a long time ago, oh, play the earnings trade, and I'm sitting over here going, holy cow, what do I do? Never again. I follow technicals. I know where my entry points are. I know where my exit points are. I know where my risk factor is. I take 5 or 10% positions of my total portfolio. We trade equities only. We don't do options. So if you have 100 grand, you're doing a $10,000 position or you're doing a $5,000 position. That's it. Minimize your risk and just take a lot of trades, rack up the winners, and have few losers. That's how you do this, and that's how you make money if you want to be a day trader. So again, some areas of support, we're thinking around the $100 level. A little bit lower would be even better. But again, we could go right back up and get above the moving averages, confirm, get the gap fill. And I think we'll be shorting it again up here, though, to be honest with you. But as a long, if you get above the all-time high and confirm, then we're possibly going up higher. But until we get above the MAs, then we'll get a little bit bullish. We fill this gap and keep going, get to this pivot. Then you could think a little bit bullish. But the only thing that's going to kill that, just think about this. If you stuck around for this video, a ton of people bought on earnings up here. This thing goes back up here, where everyone who bought in right at 132.50 or whatever, the smart ones are going to be like, damn, give me my money back. I'm done. I'm even on the trade. It could go higher, great. Because I truly believe if it retraces up here, I think we're going to go short again on this one. But longs, like I said, you're looking for a close above the all-time high and confirmation, then this one could possibly go up. But as a short, you're using that as a stop out. So either way, but until it gets above this right here, the moving average, this thing's going down in my opinion. Weekly, I'll show you that pivot again, right there, right at 99.88, a lot of support. But we also have a lot of support up in this area as well, like the 103.29. I like that area, 104. That's not bad too. Let's go to the monthly. The monthly here as well, you have the 20 MA right at 105.39. So right around the 105 level, you might start getting the bounce. I'm still thinking on the monthly, this takes a little longer. Like, look at this one. Went down, but by the end of the month, it went up and it closed higher. So this one could stretch, hit these lows, and then start going up, but then we'll be waiting for pattern. But on the monthly chart, this one looks like it's breaking down a little bit. But again, we got to get to the 20 MA, close below it, and then we'll see from there. So on the weekly, again, we'll wait for Friday, see where the close is. We'll do a weekend video on Apple. And then on the daily, man, daily's just ugly. I wish it would have filled the gap. Even, you know, the 112.46 level, that wouldn't have been bad for a bounce. But again, even the bounce here wasn't even, you know, I want to see a bounce and be up in this area. But again, check this out, you know. It bounced here a little bit and then it took off. So anything's possible. The volume here was pretty good for a possible reversal, but we'll see. We'll take a look tomorrow. If we close below this gap fill, you know, this is my call. I don't know where the futures are, but this is what the big money does in the markets. So say we have the support here. If they want this thing to go lower, they'll just open it up down in this area. And now that supports resistance if they want this thing to go lower. So watch for that too. Watch for it to gap below and possibly keep on going to 109.21. We keep our eye, you know, anyway, or we could gap up, you know, into this area. If we gap up, watch for the short around the 200 MA. Again, if we keep going up, we'll be shorting up in this area using the all-time high as a stop out. If you're long, we get above the all-time high and confirm, you're doing great. But until it even gets above the MAs here, not doing anything. Weekly, like I want to get this thing to go down because there are going to be so many buyers around the 100 level, I believe, that we'll get a huge bounce. So please, a little bit more. So yeah, so there you go. That's my technical analysis on Apple, and I think we could possibly be going down, but we're waiting for setup. We're waiting again for this to go sideways, like that. Boom, 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 boom. So right now, that's this pattern here, down, and now we're going sideways. So let's see if this starts to do that. Then I think we're going down. If this pattern fails, then we'll go up. That's how it kind of works. So I'll let you know what I'm thinking when the time comes. But for now, technically, bad position. All right, everybody, that's my outlook on Apple. Using technical analysis, just looking at the charts, trying to find reasons, but then you're also lining up the weekly, you're lining up the monthly, seeing what support is here, especially with the moving averages. These levels never change. It's really just the moving averages you're looking for on different time frames to figure out where this thing could possibly bounce. Weekly, daily. Again, everybody, thanks for watching. Hope I'm helping some traders out there. God bless. See you on the charts.